Hi, this is Paul from Tech Modeler channel, and this is my Tamiya 1/35 scale Panther D. As I said in the previous video, there will only be 2 videos for this actual build because this started before Christmas and I built the Panther D and it was left on the shelf because I started doing a few buddy builds with Switcher, a couple of buddy builds with Switcher and other projects, so this got sat on the shelf. Now, when I got to the painting stage, which was in the last 2 or 3 weeks, the weather changed a little bit, get really hot, and I had problems with the mixes of paint. It was my problem. I had the wrong air pressure and everything, so I take complete responsibility for my muck-up. Anyway, but in the end it hasn't turned out too bad. It's got more paint on it than I would have thought, but you can still see all the details through, so it didn't lose too much of its sharpness. And as I said, it's a great kit to build. I can recommend the kit to anyone. It's a straightforward build and I liked it. The only thing I would like to have had, and I think Switcher prefers plastic ones, but I would like to have had clear periscopes made out of clear plastic, because I do prefer masking those up, spraying them and then put them up afterwards at the end. These ones I've painted, these ones I didn't like them, but they're there now and they've got a bit of gloss varnish over just to give them that glassy look. With a greenish tinge inside. So anyway, but that's okay. Now the paints I used 3 colour paints. The main base colour of the vehicle was actually Dungle Geb, and it's Vallejo's Model Air, and it's 71.025, which is dark yellow. I had 2 copies of that, so I've got one with a slightly lighter colour to give pre-shading of the same colour, so I actually put some white in it and just give it a slightly lighter tone. At the end of the day, it's gone because I've done so many other bits over afterwards. And then I used the Model Air from a Camouflage set, and I used the Model Air from this Camouflage. I can't remember the name of the set, but I'll look it up and try and remember it for later. But it's Vallejo Model Air. It's 041. And that was the dark brown colour, and also then Vallejo Model Air 092. And they was used for the 2 camouflage colours. Now, as you can see, they're very lightly camouflaged because I decided I wanted a light coat where they just done it very quickly. What they used to do, the Germans used to use petrol, I believe, and cause I think I've read it somewhere, petrol to dilute the paste down so they could actually spray it. So they would have got a lighter spray with that, and that's what they done on my particular tank here. This was on the way to the Kirsch, and basically it came off the train. It received the green, and then on the way to the front it broke down, and by the time they fixed it, basically it never saw any action. So the vehicle was still in pretty pristine condition. So what they did is they actually then sprayed the second colour over, the brown colour over the top, give it the 3 colour pattern for camouflage, and then what happened then, it was on the march again and it got dusty because it was in the summer and it was very dusty, and that's what I'm depicting here, a dusty Panther D that is between receiving its actual Zimmerit, because the crews or depots in the field would actually apply Zimmerit to Panther Ds, and I've seen some lovely photographs of them where the actual paste is so roughly put on there it really looks terrible, but that's what they did until they was done at the factory. But other than that, it was actually done in the field with Panther Ds, so the Zimmerit would have looked really rough. Anyway, so what did I do with this kit? The only things I've added to the kit were from Tamiya. I added screen meshes for the rear, metal barrel, and what else was it? Oh, and their track set. And I've mentioned the track set before, so I won't go into that again, but there is a track set that comes specifically, and the tracks are for the D. Brett Green's done a great Panther D, as well as Steve Mottram, and I know Brett actually used the tracks that I did, and I loved them. They can be a bit finicky. Luckily you get a few spares because you can break the pegs off quite easily. To put the tracks on, I found it was easier to leave the body loose from the top, so when you finish painting, lift the body off, then put the tracks on, and then slide the body over the top. The front bit here does make it a little bit awkward, but I did manage to slide it over and into place. So that was that. So there you go. Now the decals I've got for this one, because I've done 521, I got from the Star ones. Star decals they're called, 1/35, and the sheet is number 35/876, and here it is, and if I put it to back you'll see it quite clearly. There she is. But if I come forward, there, I think it's still ready. Yeah, good. That's the one I was depicting. Now I didn't copy the camouflage on this. I went my own way a little bit. I thought they was doing a quick camouflage. They didn't have time. It's a World War II, so it was a bit of a rush job to do. So they did that. so I ended up with what I've got here. I did spray the tracks in the base colour of the vehicle along with a bit of camouflage going over in the green and the red. The reason being is I've seen photographs of the Panthers when they come out of their factory, and nearly everything on it was actually painted in the vehicle's colour. So all I've done is where they've added tools to it, that the only things that really haven't been sprayed, they've just added the tools to them. So I've added that. So there you go. So that's what I've done there. Now what I gave it also, I used life colour for the dusting. Now the dusting to me looks better on the kit from my point of view than what it possibly does on the camera. But the one I used was Life Cover UA706. It's called Dust Type 2. They actually do two, and if I show them, I might be able to show you them quite nicely. They actually do two. There you go. Oh, if I do it that way. There, you might just be able to get there. And there's Dust Type 2, then Dust Type 1. You might be able to see it better on the screen than I can see it. Anyway, so there you go. Really good. It's sprayed really well. Neat out of the bottle, and I put it in there. Put it on my MP M2 airbrush, which has got a 0.4 needle, and it's sprayed very, very nicely and finely all over the place, and it looked really good. And it does actually look like it's got a bit of dust all over the vehicle, so I'm happy with that. I'm never completely happy with any build, I said, because as I said, I had trouble with my spray booth, but I think I've took the essence of the vehicle and made it look reasonable, and it'll look quite nice on my shelf. So that's the main thing, and I'm happy in the end, but I still think I could have done a better job. But there you go. So the decals, I must admit, were a pain. These are fine decals, because if you just put it onto a flat surface, everyone knows how easy it is to do. They do look painted on, and what I did is where the 2 is, I was going to try and manipulate it so on both sides of the turrets, the pistol ports that are on both sides wouldn't receive any part of a decal. But the more I looked at the picture and the more I looked on the web, most of them went over the actual pistol port in some way or other. So I did it, but I had to use a lot of Vallejo's decal solution, which is the decal medium, which you put on first, and then the decal fix, which softens as well, and it goes. And I had to really go on there. But the trouble is, though, if you go too far, it starts to affect the paint if you ain't careful. And I did have a satin varnish over the vehicle, so but I still do it. But anyway, at the end of the day, it went on nice, and I'm really pleased with that as well. I used a bit of on the actual gun support for on the front for it when it's travelling lock, I should call it, gun travel lock. On the chain I actually painted it with a greasy colour, an oily colour, and it just gives it a difference. It gives it a chain linked look up to it, so it doesn't actually look like a lump of plastic. So I'm quite happy with that. So if I swing it round, go this way, I think. There we go. Just missing that again. There you go. You can see exhausts. Again, my exhausts are the beginning of rust, because this vehicle was new and it hadn't seen any combat, so it's just the beginning of rust. I've got a few fuel stains on the actual engine room there. The screens are really beautiful, Tamiya. You can't fault them. They're really beautiful, so they're great. Anything else? Not really. No, I think that's about it really. So if I bring it back to where we was. Yeah. Oh, I did drill out, I think I mentioned that I drilled out the smoke dischargers to make them a bit thinner, and I actually painted them a sort of a blacky sooty colour inside, just to give them a bit of definition when you look into there, so you don't see a hollow. It looks hollow inside now, rather than you can see, if it's leave it a sprayed vehicle colour, you can actually see where it finishes. But now I look in there, you can't see nothing, which is what I was aiming for. What else did I do? I also did some wires for the smoke dischargers. You can't really see. I don't know if I can get it to zoom any better. No, I think you might be able to see them on the video, but there's some wires there going through, and I hid them up so they disappear and look as if they disappear into the turret. So that was that. So we come back off again, and that's it. So I'll bring it round again. So that is, let's get if I can get this better one. That is my Panther D from Tamiya 1/30 scale, and that is the final reveal finished. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. I do like building tanks, obviously, So that was my rendition of it. Thank you very much. Oh, and also just a shout out for Steve Mottram's end build, which starts on the 23rd of this month, and I know now he's got more than enough candidates to start it, so it's really been popular. So good luck with that build anyway. I'm building a Messerschmitt 109, but I'm still considering going over to the mouse, because it begins with M and it's more of a, on the box of my Messerschmitt it only says BF, which technically still is a Messerschmitt, so I'm tempted to change it, and if I do I'm going to change my video on the forum and to say I'm building the mouse, so which is a 200-ton beast. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.